We are live. Hello, today we are making Easter cookie pops. Just trying to get this situated. I think that's good. Okay, so we are starting with a reminder as to how to add our cookie to our stick. So we have some just regular candy melts here, or vanilla melting wafers is what it says on the bag. And then I have, I think that one has a crack in it. I'm trying to find an Oreo that does not have a crack down the side. I think all these ones do. Okay, so we have our stick, and then we're going to just dip a little bit, just not too much, just enough so that when we put it in here, we're going to, that's going to allow it to kind of like stay on the stick better. Okay, and then we want to make sure we don't go all the way up so that it didn't poke out the top. That's good. And then we can use a stick type tool, either like a popsicle stick or not popsicle stick, like a lollipop stick, or I'm just using like the metal cake tester that I use when I'm doing cake. And then we can just kind of like clean off our cookie. So we're cleaning up the bottom part, and then if we have a crack, which I think this one has like a little teeny tiny light crack that hasn't fully gone all the way, but I want to make sure. I just have some cookie crumbs in here. I'm going to add a little bit of these candy melts on here so that maybe a little bit more than I wanted. I want to make sure that we kind of cover that part, and then when it fully hardens, that hopefully it'll keep the cookie together and it's not going to crack and fall apart into the melts when we're dipping. So I'm just kind of smoothing that out, because usually when there's those little cracks right down the center, that it's like the whole cookie. So I want to just cover any little part that might be there with the crack on it. Okay, so just kind of like that. And then I'll flip it upside down and put it on parchment paper to set. But I already have some of them done, so we can get right to decorating. Okay, so our first one is going to be just really simple. You can do this with any Easter or spring sprinkles, just kind of have some fun with it. I think I'm going to put this in the microwave just for a teeny bit, maybe like 10 seconds at most. It just needs a little bit more warming. And then I already have some cookie pops ready to go on our sticks. There's a lot of cracked cookies in this batch. You can see that's what it looks like when it's hardened. And this one was double-sided with the cracks on the cookie. I think I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, my melts. Pardon me. Anybody else's allergies going like absolutely crazy this week? It's just been not fun. Okay, so that looks really nice for dipping. When I kind of shake it, it goes back into it really easily. So that's kind of what we're looking for. We would maybe need to add a little bit of, I've added vegetable oil usually, or I've also heard of people using what are called Paramount crystals, and that just helps to lightly thin out like candy melts. And from there, you're able to have a better consistency, because if it's too thick, yes, with the allergies, if it's too thick, then it like doesn't coat nicely. It gets a little bit lumpy. It's just awkward. So that's what we're looking for with our consistency. And some candy melts or melting wafers just straight out of the bag when you buy them are great consistency, like this one is. This is actually the one that Sam's Club had during the fall season. They used to sell Ghirardelli and then they started selling their own. So from what I've tested out so far, I don't like it as much in terms of flavor for hot chocolate bombs for at least the white one. I think I still kind of like the chocolate. That has a pretty decent quality to it, but for whatever reason, the white one for the Sam's Club melts. Hot chocolate bomb wise, I'm not as much of a fan when it melts. There's just something about, I don't know. I can't even, I'm not sure how to even describe it, but just, it's kind of like but okay, so let's take one of our cookie pops and we're gonna get our sprinkles ready too. And with this one, I'm gonna try and make it kind of look like a little grassy wreath. Wilton sent me these sprinkles and it's really cute, but I'm gonna kind of separate some of the little eggs on top and kind of put them to the side so that we have just the green. And we're gonna put the green down. Get a couple little prep bowls here so we can separate those out. So we're going to use the green to kind of like go around the outside. We just want to make sure that our sprinkles are ready to go so that we add them as soon as we've dipped. Okay. I got all of those. I think that should be a good amount, so I don't think I need to add any more. And then we have our cute little selection here. I do think I want to find another yellow because if there's no space, I want to make sure. Where's all the, oh, there you are. You're buried deep. I want at least a couple of each color. Okay. There we go. So we have our sprinkles. Then we have our nice melty wafers here. Okay, I'm gonna get that spoon out of my way. And then we're just going to take our cookie pop and just lightly coat. And sometimes with the vanilla melts, I've actually done like a double coat. I don't know that we're gonna need it for this one. That covers pretty well, so I don't think we're gonna need to do the double coat because I do what I call like, oh my gosh, excuse me. I'm gonna need to get some water. I do kind of like a cookie pop version of like a crumb coat, if you're familiar with like doing cakes and stuff. So there we go with that. And we're going to, here, I'm going to put it right here and kind of just scooch you on over here. And we're going to just apply our green to the kind of perimeter, basically. So we don't want to go too much in. Like that one is a little bit skew. So I'm going to use this little stick to push them over. I want to keep the center open. Okay, I want to fill it in, but I also want to make sure I'm not going too much in the center. So we're going to scooch some of these on over. Just like I said, to keep that center part open. Because we're making a cute little Easter wreath. You can kind of like adjust while it's still nice and soft. And you also want to make sure that all the sprinkles are touching in some way to ensure that they're actually going to stay. Could even put some on the sides. We could also have probably like dipped them on the sides, but I wanted to sprinkle them on. I wasn't quite sure if it would look a little bit funny. Okay. I think you're good. And I want this one to set for a little bit before I start to add anything. So we're just going to, once we're happy with our sprinkle placement here, I think I want to add another little sprinkle up top here. Maybe one more. Oh, not where I wanted it to go. Right there. Just kind of fill in that space a little bit more. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Maybe just scooch this little guy over. Just a touch. Okay, so we're gonna let that set. And we're gonna move on to our next one. And then we're gonna come back and add our little egg sprinkles here. Okay, let's scooch it on over. And with this one, I think I need an extra little piece of parchment paper here. Got little cookie crumbs here. Okay, so with this one, I am remelting and also adding a little bit more color. I had some blue melts and then I added some more white to it, and I just need to add some more color in there. But they've already started to slightly set up a little bit. So we're gonna add, put this in here for like 15 seconds or so. And then we're gonna add a little bit more of our blue powdered coloring. This is the one I'm using for this particular blue, the Lumo Comet, the Lumo Comet, I can't, oh my gosh, I can't talk today. It's Friday. Lumo Comet Blue. I just like how these colors are very like neon and kind of bright, but also if you add just a little bit, it gets a really kind of nice, almost like kind of bright pastel. So that's what I like about this blue, is that it's a very nice color for spring. Okay, so I'm just adding some of my blue in. And a little actually goes quite a long way, so that's good. Stir, stir, stir. It's a little bit darker than what I was going for, so I can actually grab some more melts and stick them in here. Yeah, that's a little more deep than what I had intended. So we're done with the blue. And I need some more melts. Okay, add some more here. I'm gonna start with, it's pretty dark, I'm gonna add some more. Okay, so we're just gonna stir these in and then of course pop them in the microwave. And because some of them already are made, goodness, it's already a little bit melted, then I don't wanna go, full 30 seconds necessarily. So I'm gonna start with probably like 20, maybe 25, and just start melting from there. And while that's going, I'm gonna get a sip of water. Especially it's like super windy here this week, like the past couple of days, and so it's just, oh, that's not fun. Not fun for allergy season. Whew. Okay. So we're definitely gonna need more time on this, but we want to give it a little stir. We can see that that's already starting to melt nicely. You want to stir to make sure that the heat that's already in there can melt as much as possible before you actually put it back in. You don't want to just like stir, stir, okay, got to put it back in right away. You want to see if you can melt it a little bit more, and then you won't have to heat it for as long for the next time. So like even with a little bit of stirring, I can see that the pieces got smaller. I think I'm gonna go another, I did 20 seconds on that one. This one's gonna be probably 15 to 20 seconds. Like I always say, you wanna make sure that you don't overheat them because they will get, they can burn. They will get like this weird kind of chalky, thick kind of thing where it's like regular chocolate where once you burn it, you're done. You can't fix it. You can't go back. So that's why I always heat in just little small increments and then just keep stirring in between. Okay, let's see how we're doing here. Perfect. That seems to have done the trick. And of course, scrape down the sides of your bowl. That's why I'm making sure everything gets mixed in there. And this is much closer to that blue that I wanted. I was going kind of more for that like robin's egg kind of blue. So I'm happy with the color. I'm happy with the consistency. It looks like how I want it to look. Okay, I am happy. So we're gonna put the spoon to the side and then just dip and put it right here in the middle. And then move on to our third one, and then we can go back and continue with these. Getting a little bit of crumbs in here, unfortunately, but that is okay. Just make sure all sides are dipped or covered. And then whatever side is going to be like your face up. Excuse me. I always do, oh my goodness. I always do like a little tap, tap, tap. And we can also get rid of air bubbles that way too. Just have it flat. Don't tip it or else it's going to get like this weird looking texture. Just tap, tap, tap with it face up. Carefully scrape the back so there's not a lot of excess. And then we're going to place it down. And immediately before we move on to our next one, we're going to pop these bubbles with this little stick tool here. And then I like to kind of, you can see when it pops, pop darn you. Like this one, it leaves a little kind of hole. You can use the tool to kind of fill it in a little bit so it looks better. You can also do this over the bowl so that you can also tap it out and those will kind of fill in naturally themselves. That's another way to do it. I feel like there's something about this part that's bugging me. Okay. We're gonna make it work. Okay, letting that one set as well, and I can see that our wreath one over here is pretty much set, but we're gonna move on to our other one first. So scooch you on a little bit more over here, and we're gonna melt some of the dark chocolate melting wafers. And to start, I always personally start with 30 seconds. I don't really like to chance it and do, some of them say like, oh, start with a minute. I get nervous. As I mentioned, I don't want to have to throw them away. Which I've actually had to do that before, and it's not fun, especially because sometimes they can be very pricey. So that's why I always err on the side of caution and do short increments. Just a couple more seconds. And then of course we're gonna give it a little mix here. Okay, and of course, still got a little ways to go here. So I'm actually gonna do 25 seconds this next time. Okay, I think we're gonna have to remelt our white here. Still a little bit loosey-goosey, but we're gonna use that as our glue for our first cookie pop to get those eggs on there. Okay. Just give it a nice stir, stir, stir. And like I said, just keep stirring for a little bit to see if that can pretty much melt anything that's left. Because the heat can carry through and actually finish melting it, and you don't have to put it in the microwave. Because if you did that at that point, then you actually could overheat it. And sometimes that leads to, I actually found this out when I was attending the Bake Fest last year, and I talked to one of the companies, one of the reps for one of the companies, that it's called Stover and Company, and not Russell Stover, Stover and Company. And I actually learned from her that if you heat it too much, that's how it can actually have some streaking happen. So if you've ever seen that happen, it's not just because of, you know, like possibly something with the vegetable oil or something. It can literally, you know, affect, having it too high of a temperature can affect the actual outcome of the candy melts. So that was good to know. See, it carried all the way through. It looks very, very nice and silky. Exactly what we're looking for. Okay, so we're gonna coat this one in our chocolate. Same thing as the other ones, just make sure it's completely coated. And especially with the chocolate ones, those ones I never need to do a cookie crumb coat, if you will. Just tap, tap, tap. Helps get rid of air bubbles, as we talked about. And then gently scrape. And on our parchment here. But we're gonna immediately add some Oreo cookie crumbs. Because we're going for like a garden theme with this one. We're gonna be like over generous, and then when it completely sets, we can tip it over and shake off the excess. Okay, I'm gonna kind of press it in there a little bit too. Just a little bit. Okay. So we're gonna let that set completely. And we're gonna go back to our first cookie pop. And I'm gonna pop this in the microwave. I can tell it's starting to set up a little bit, tiny bit on the sides, and I can feel there's not tons of heat anymore. So I'm gonna probably do like 10 seconds on this one. Doesn't need a whole lot because it's still a little bit loosey-goosey. We're gonna scooch you on over to see our wreath. Okay, always give your candy melts a mix when it comes out. Okay, they're a little bit thicker, so I'm gonna do another 10 seconds. And I'm also gonna grab a food brush that's pretty small here. It's about that size. We don't need much. Okay, so mix, mix, mix. I like that consistency better. Just, I can feel it the other way if it is kind of feeling a little bit thicker. Even if after you just did like 10 seconds or so, then I do like to pop it back in there just to make sure that it's gonna stay melted while I'm doing this part. So we have our melts here, and then we're working on this one, and we have our sprinkles. So I think that I'm gonna be able to fit, I was thinking 2 of each color. So I'm using my food tweezers to place them because that's gonna make it so much easier. Another pinky. Okay. Like I said, I'm thinking 2 of each color. I personally, for whatever reason, love symmetry. So I'm going to have them go opposite sides of each other. And I think that's going to fill it in without making it look too overcrowded. I don't want to do that. So we're just going to place little dots of our candy melts here using our food brush. And we're going to go right there. Oh, that's more than I wanted. I'm going to go purple. Go purple right there and try and make it kind of flat-ish. I know it's a little bit bumpy because of the other sprinkles, but I think I'm gonna go upside down up at the top here. So they're all gonna face kind of inside. This one definitely is bumpy. There we go. Okay. And then we just continue this around. And for the next color, I think I'm gonna do blue. And then we're just gonna go 1 in between each to finish it off. And we're just working quickly to make sure that the melts do not set before we have a chance to actually place them. And last one. Okay, and we're just gonna let those set and we can check on them in a little bit. This one still looks like it's kind of doing its thing. So we're gonna get ready to, let's see, I wanna move this out of the way because we're gonna be splattering something and I do not want the cookie pop to get damaged. So there's our little Easter wreath cookie pop. I think it turned out pretty cute. I'm actually really happy with how that one turned out. I think I've only ever tried like 1 or 2 wreath cookie pops. If you've seen my page, you know that I love doing wreath cupcakes for pretty much all holiday and season. So I was excited to try this one. Actually, stick it back over here in my little bowl. Okay, so that is out of the way. I'm actually going to completely just place it on a tray because we're going to take a little bit of food coloring. So I have this brown food gel here. And yeah, let's see. I have a little bowl. And oops. There was some coloring on the... Hello. Why is it looks like a grumpy emoji? Okay, had a little bit of a malfunction here. What are these little pictures? And hello, Lucy. Thank you for joining. Okay. There we go. My little... I have never... Are these like... I guess these are maybe custom live things. I have not seen this before. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little bit of some extract. And I think I'm gonna use... I guess let's do strawberry. So I'm using a little bit of strawberry extract. You could do this or alcohol. And we're going to add just a little bit into this dish. We don't need a ton. Oh, it's a little kitty in a box. That's so cute. I like that with the popcorn looks so happy. That's adorable. Okay, and then we're gonna take a little bit of our brown food gel here. We don't need a ton. So I'm taking about that much or so. And we're going to mix it with this extract. And sometimes I like to kind of press it up the sides to kind of help get it off there and then be able to mix it in a little bit better. It sounds like, ooh. Okay, I usually use extract. I don't usually use alcohol, but I feel like maybe alcohol would dry a little bit faster. But I always have, obviously, extracts on hand, so. Okay, we have our little mixture ready to go, and we just need to grab a food brush. Okay. I think this one should work. So I usually use a slightly smaller one, but this is the one we're working with right now. So we're going to take our mixture here and just dip the brush, and then we're going to hold this over top, kind of like high up above, so it kind of has, you know, some distance here. And then we're going to hit, or actually we're going to hold it like this, and then we're going to hit the back of the brush like this. So just like that. And it can be, you know, a little bit closer for a little bit more impact, if you will, a little bit further away for kind of like a lighter spray of color, if you will. But once this dries, we don't want to touch it right now, but it's a cute little, just simple robin's egg themed cookie pop for Easter and spring. So that's a nice, another simple one. And let's see, this one should be, I think, pretty much set. So let's check on our last one. But like I said, if you have any other cookie pops you're doing, just get them away so it doesn't get the splatter on them too. Okay, so let's see. It peeled off, so it should be done. And we're just gonna shake off that excess. Okay, there we go. So it's nicely coated. I did the chocolate base so that if you saw anything, girl, thank you for this. Give me ideas. Oh, yay. I'm so excited that you're getting ideas from this. And this will be available for replay for anybody that wants to catch it later as well. And of course, I'll post pictures. But there we go with our dirt base, if you will. And then scooch this out of my way. I was very generous with the cookie crumbs. Okay, so we have this, and we're going to take our chocolate melts, and those are still pretty runny, so we're good on that. I'm gonna grab a different food brush, which I know you're probably thinking like, good Lord, what's with all the food brushes? But I use these all the time. Sorry I'm late, how are you? That is totally okay, thank you so much for joining, and I am pretty good. As I mentioned earlier, my throat sounds a little bit funny because of my allergies just going crazy this week. But aside from that, I am good. How are you doing? And I'm grabbing out my last little decoration here. So Wilton was also kind enough to send me some really cool, that one broke, but some really cool little icing decorations that are just little carrots you can just pop right off and pop them onto 8 wreaths. So that's what we're going to use to decorate this one. I actually already have a pack opened. And as you can see, I've been using these to decorate a lot of miscellaneous things recently. I like never use these icing decorations, but I was like, since they sent it to me, I'm going to try a whole bunch of different things. Good, I won my basketball game last night. Congratulations, that's awesome. Okay, we need a little bit of candy melts here. And we're going to just place it kind of in the center. I think I want it kind of like this, kind of angled. So that's what I'm going to do is, you know, kind of make it a little diagonal here. Okay, this might... I haven't tried this before with the cookie pop, so this is a little... let's see, I have an idea. We're going to create in the center a little kind of thing to get to the candy melts underneath, so that when I add the candy melts now, it should connect and it's not going to just do what it just did. So, okay, we can be a little bit more generous with our candy melts right here. So I think that should work. And then we're going to add our carrot right away. Just like that, and press down so that it'll stay together. So yeah, you definitely need to do a little, just get to the candy melts underneath, and then of course you're gonna cover it up with the carrot, but that's to ensure that it kind of glues everything together and it's not just gonna fall off or just do what this little thing did where it just kept sticking to the crumbs. So, but that is all of our cookie pops. Let's take a last look at them. So first up, we have the Easter wreath, which I'm really excited with how this one turned out. I love these colors. Perfect Easter colors. And then we have our robin's egg cookie pop. And of course you can like clean up that a little bit. I always just kind of leave it because it's like it doesn't bother me that much that there's like a tiny bit on the stick there. And then shake off a little more excess. Last but not least, we have our cute little carrot. I don't know if the camera's not focusing as much, but our cute little carrot, kind of dirt cake inspired cookie pop here. I don't know how you're not eating that already. I could just end up in the live right now and stuff in my face. That's a good question. I think because of how much stuff I work with, I don't actually eat less Oreos now that I constantly have them around than years ago when we would rarely get them and I would, you know, kind of go crazy. So I think just having them around, and then also like stuff like this, I love to give it to people and just kind of see their reaction of how they, you know, get so excited about how it's decorated and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like the reward of someone's reaction is kind of what drives me to not eat all the treats. And I just love the, you know, to give people things. So, and then Molo says, good job. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining the live today. This is it for our cookie pops. If anyone has any questions, feel free to pop it in the chat. we can stay on for like another minute or two if anybody has any questions or anything that they'd like to pop in there. Aside from that, I am working on a tutorial for what's probably going to be, unfortunately, my last Easter tutorial for the season. The season just went by super fast, but I have some carrot cake cookies that are decorated very cute. So working on finishing those up so I can get that out to you next week. And what else? Keep up the, you're welcome. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Bye. Have a good day. You have a good day too. Thank you for joining. What else? What else? It's already St. Patrick's Day this weekend, but it's also weird because it's like only 2 weeks away from Easter. So yeah, I have some fun shorts videos coming up, and next week's live, I think, is Easter pretzel treats. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be coming up at the same time, same day next week. And then I think the week before Easter, I put it a couple days ahead just so it doesn't fall too close to that weekend. So keep an eye out for all that fun stuff. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat about the cookie pops, but let me know which one is your favorite, and I'll post these pictures of these on our community tab later, and maybe even do like a voting poll thing to see which one is your favorite. So keep an eye out for all that fun stuff, and in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you very soon. Okay, bye.